Finally, the moment we've been waiting for, man. Uh,
Yeah,
the end of Spurrier's first arc. Um, how you feeling? We've been kind of we've been since issue one. We've been wondering how this is gonna
yeah. I
tie in.
before I even like begin to think about how this ended, like I don't know if I don't know if you feel this way, but it almost feels like this issue was just like let's rip on Wally Day.
Yeah, I know I could
Like
see that.
eh, yeah, and maybe I'm just so hung up on it being so different than like everything else that I love about Flash. But I'm like, that's not to say that like the stuff that's been going on with Linda and her like inner monologue and the way she like her narration of the issues that she's in, like that's fine. I like it's well written, like the post traumatic or the postpartum depression stuff. It works, you know. It's just it felt so heavy handed in this issue. Like it's from Linda, it's from Barry, it's from Jai. Like it's every single person that he's like interacting with. It's just like breathing down his neck. And it makes me think like just based on who like we know who Wally is, like it's weird to see him them almost treat him like he's like the absentee father,
Mm,
you know, like and I was talking with somebody else about this too. Like it's weird. I don't know. I'll probably come around to it eventually, but right now it's just it's okay.
I kind of liked how. Well, let me start just by saying like I did a little bit of a double take because the way issue started with him and Linda kind of
Yeah.
she's along for the ride. It was like, wait, did I miss something? Like, did I miss an issue? But it
Mhm.
was just kind of like, okay, it's a little bit of time's passed, which I didn't really like, didn't really
Yeah, we're just
appreciate
like
how.
dropped into the middle of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like there was an issue missing somewhere, but I
Right,
kind of
because
liked.
the last one ended with him he blasted the stillness, right, to save Jai.
Yeah,
So like I mean it's yeah, I didn't put too much weight into it. I just kind of was just reading through it. It's weird. I used to be excited for Flash, but now it's just kind of like in the middle of my stack, and when I get to it, I get to it, you know.
yeah. Well,
At least the last couple issues have been that way, I feel.
you know, it's been kind of strange. Like lately, when Flash comes out, it's my only comic that week, so it's like,
Mhm.
um, I've cut my pull list down a ton, but I kind of like how it's like, oh, I just got Flash. I don't have a ton of other
Yeah.
things, but
Yeah, like
um,
I had Thor this week also, man, and that was just like phenomenal. So I'm like,
yeah. How'd you
but
feel about the way he kind of brought some of these storylines together? Like, because there's stuff that's been going on that Linda didn't know about, and it just kind
mhm.
of like, I mean, not everything, but it felt like a lot of the stuff that had been going on with the other characters. It kind of
Yeah.
just like mashed them together. Barry, Jai, Linda. It just kind of was like, oh, cool. These are coming together.
Yeah. And I feel like we got a little bit of that last issue with like all the Jai's, kind of crossing paths again and him being able to like getting a little bit development there with like the inspector and Jai and his connection to everything and what he is and the stillness and all. Like so it started to come together last issue and I like that. And this definitely kind of wraps in more of like now we know what Barry's been up to and now we know what like Linda's kind of in on things. Um I the one thing that kind of is like still confusing to me is like I'm having a hard time understanding what the deal is with some of these like beings or things on the different planes of reality because like we learned like a couple issues ago that these little meat things like we thought they were harmless, but now they're not. Like what is that to
Yeah.
say with like it? You know what I mean? Like it. I Robert like on Instagram. I'm sure you probably talked to him
Oh
before.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, I was talking to him yesterday about this, and like I was telling him, it feels like the Spurrier just went all in and was like, here's every single plot thread that I'm gonna ever put out in this book right now. Like it kind
Yeah,
of feels like an overwhelming amount of things to follow. Like, and even for like people that have been reading Flash for a long time, like you and I, like I just find myself going like, what? And
I know.
go
It's
ahead.
really weird. It's like I don't know what Spurrier is trying to do. Like, is he trying to be like Grant Morrison? Is he trying to be Jonathan Hickman? It's like I just that's the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah,
It's like,
and like and that was the other thing I was saying. Like I also said that to Robert. I was like, it's been likened to like, Immortal Hulk or Saga of the Swamp Thing. Like, and while I think this could have the potential to reach the heights of books like that, just on how complex it is, I and I mean, I'll even take the Immortal Hulk line a little bit further. Like the way Ewing does that is like he doesn't just blow the wad out the gate and just drop 20 different things on you. It's like, hey, this is what the book is going to be, because
mm,
that's how this feels. Like in Immortal Hulk, like it's kind of drip fed to you over the course of like the first 20 or so issues, and then it just is like stacking everything on top of each other. So like it's this is probably going to be long form, obviously, in like the same way, but it just seems like like shoot it all out at once instead of just like holding something back.
yeah, I'm just kind of curious. Like, where's this gonna go? How long is this gonna be? I mean, I know you can't really ask those questions because we never know how long a run's gonna be. But like,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm hoping the next arc. I mean, spoilers if whoever's listening, you know, I can't even remember. Is it Thawne or is it Zalman coming back?
Yeah, it's the Crown of Thorns. So like
Yeah, Thawne.
I
Because we were saying Zalman. We were like, and
well,
me
yeah,
and
and well
JD
like
we've been saying
and exactly like and Hunter came back in 800. So like
exactly, yeah. So
and
like, I
and
was
and
like
and,
super thrown off by that. I was like, what?
and that's even more confusing to me because like I mean, obviously, this is the first time we're seeing any of this and kind of like how, the cards are laid out with Mirror Master and Grodd and this like weird tentacle thing that's we saw a little bit of in 800. And like everything that's been kind of like all of those rogues or whatever group they're forming, like are they trying to bring Thawne back? Have they already done it? Like, and if they are, like, how are they going to do that? Because last I thought he was like Barry sent his ass into the Speed Force, and that was kind of it. And then he
Yeah,
got his dream or whatever, like of being the museum curator. And I also don't know, like, was that established? Like he went back to his time and that's where he is, or is that like his eternal paradise because he's stuck in the Speed Force? You know what I mean? Like I don't unanswered questions, and it's how does it connect to Williamson?
yeah. Well, personally, I think like that send off it stays intact, but
Yeah,
the way you could look at a character like Thawne is like you know he always comes back, but it's just
yeah,
always a question of
right.
like
Like
from where, you know what I mean? What point in
right,
his
and
life,
now I was gonna follow it up with like you could almost spin it as like, oh, we're just pulling versions of him from different points in time. But like,
I, I just feel like it would have been better if you just had Zoom, if you had Solomon, because I
yeah,
just feel like Thawne, like I know Williamson's run was a while ago now, but like I just feel like he put the character in a spot where like I was like, okay, like you don't really need to
yeah,
view him for a while.
yeah. Like I could have gone like another 3 to 5 years without Thawne. Like, and I love Thawne. He's my favorite DC villain. Like, don't get me wrong, but like I felt like it was such a good end cap for him at the end of Williamson run. Like I was fine putting him away, and then it being like a big ass surprise. 10 years later he's back. Like and that's kind of what we got with Hunter. Like, and that's why I was so excited to have Hunter back into things because it's been so long since he's been. I mean, it was Flash War, but he wasn't like Zoom. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just remember
He
being
was
so confused by that last page. I was just because I just felt like
so
where I thought it was going, where my head was at. I
yeah.
was like,
So I
I was
I
just
have like theory time for a second.
okay.
Like so how like when him and Barry were running and they had that little like the thing that we saw like in the sky a few issues ago and it's like in the front of his eyes.
Yeah,
and how it's like talking through Barry.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if maybe they are pulling like remnants of Thawne throughout time and using Barry as like the vessel for that to bring him back. It kind almost like in a weird like twisted Return of Barry Allen reveal,
Hmm.
where it's like it's Barry and they don't know that it's he's playing as Barry the whole time, but it's actually Thawne because Thawne has come back through him. You know what I mean? Like
I could see that.
I'm not saying I like that, but that's like the first thing that came to my mind was like,
like if they're gonna do something like that, which they might, I'd rather have them, bring back Cobalt Blue. That's a character we haven't seen
yeah,
since
that
Wade's
would be
Run. You
tight.
know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be
And
very cool.
he's a Thawne, so it makes sense. I mean, I just don't. I don't want to retread of Return of Barry Allen. I don't want. I don't. Personally, I just don't really want Thawne back. Just, and I know, like, everyone loves him. I could see why that would bring back in readers, but
Right.
I don't know, man. I'm just very confused because I thought it was going to be Hunter. I really did.
Right. And
I
like, and
mean,
that's the other thing too, is like there's not much of a relationship between Thawne and Wally, like in terms of like history
no.
together, all these things. So it kind of sucks that it isn't Hunter coming back. I agree.
Yeah. I mean, when I
But
saw this cover, that's
yeah,
what I was like, oh shit, like, but
or okay, I guess another theory. What if Hunter is coming back and he's coming back to face off against Thawne because of what happened because he learned that he influenced the it's because it was the clown that he gave the clown the gun that killed Ashley's dad, right?
yeah, maybe.
I mean, I
Are you
would be
familiar
game
with
for
this
that.
artist?
Like, huh?
Are you familiar
Ramon
with this
Perez?
artist now?
No,
Yeah.
I'm not. I've never read anything that he's done.
Not to get like, totally
Yeah.
derail what we were talking about.
No.
But I'm just curious because, I like Mike Deodato, but I'm just not really, I'm kind
Yeah,
of looking forward
this
to,
issue did it for me. I was kind of over it after this.
I mean, I've been
Uh,
having to read this on laptop, because I still
oh
read
yeah,
digital. I've had to
much
read
fun.
every issue on laptop. So I'm just like, I'd
Yeah,
like to get back to the, guided view,
yeah,
hopefully.
yeah, for sure.
But
I don't know. I've never read anything that not that I can think of that he's done.
I've read this.
Huh.
I can't remember it.
Why does it look like Michael Fassbender?
I remember thinking that when that issue came out.
Excuse me. But yeah, I don't know. It's and the stuff with the stillness is still kind of interesting.
Yeah,
And
I, I'm I'm just I want to get past like these big concept things. I just kind of want it to get a little bit more.
yeah,
I don't want to say easier to follow because I like a comic that really makes me think, and I want it. This seems like something that like years from now, like when we revisit it,
yeah,
once we know what happens, we're gonna be able to understand it more. It's layered.
yeah. Like and I think I would be willing to give this a reread. Like maybe even like 20 or 30 issues if it goes that far. Like just to kind of see where things are at
Mm,
that point and how it all connects together and see if my perspective changes on some things like in the earlier issues. But like month to month, it's just I don't know. I think
eh,
maybe I set my expectations too high for it based on the hype that it was getting before it actually came out. Like
yeah, which is
and
fair.
I did like a 180. Like when 800 came out and that first story, like his first story of in that, I was like I don't really care. Like I didn't really like it. But then
Wow.
when they were like it's going to be like Immortal Hulk, it's going to be like Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, it's going to be like this big complex like convoluted story and weird stuff. Like I'm here for it. I'm in cosmic horror. It would have been cool. I was willing to give it a chance, and now it's just like I don't know.
I don't know if I asked you this in previous like episodes, but how familiar are you with like Spurrier's work?
I've read Coda, both volumes of Coda by him. I read his stuff. I read his X-Men stuff during Sins of Sinister,
Hmm.
and I haven't read any of his whatchamacallit, like any of his Vertigo stuff though,
So
which
like this was like my first exposure to him, this X Club.
because he's been doing X-Men stuff for a little while, right?
He's always been kind of like a, and this was like 2011. He's always been writing like side X books. I mean, even
Uh-huh.
more recently, he did like Way of X, like
Yeah, all
Nightcrawler.
the Nightcrawler stuff. Yeah, like he did the Uncanny Spider-Man.
Yeah, he did that too. Which I haven't read that. I mean,
I
I'm
heard
still
that's
doing
pretty
like a
good.
big, yeah.
I also know
I've
that like
heard Way of
people,
X is good,
yeah, I've also heard people don't like it. So
but yeah, I mean that was my background on him. So I just remember being a little. No, I don't want to say worried, but like I was just kind of a little like,
yeah, like
it's definitely
I,
gonna be
I
different.
and even before before we actually got that first story by him, I had already read Coda, and it's like very like it's kind of vulgar. It's funny. It's very like fantastical. It's a fantasy book, but like
Forgot
I
he
think
did
he did.
Justice League.
Oh, he did do those, huh?
Yeah, he did 3 issues.
Oh, I hated those issues. Is this where like the planet like says, "Oh, you're our leaders now, Justice League," and then they all are like bickering over what to do with the people? I
Yeah.
hated that arc. That arc sucked. Sorry.
No,
This
no,
is what
that's
happens,
good, man.
this is what happens when I'm awake, man.
Dude, oh, I love it, man. This is what I want to, for people
Uh,
listening, we started switching up. Well,
for the
starting with
afternoon,
this afternoons now. We're not early morning.
that's right.
Um, but not to go on
It's,
another tangent, but like I remember like jumping on for this Justice League.
yeah.
Oh man, and I just remember like, oh god, this is bringing me
Dude,
back.
the
Like,
Venditti arc wasn't the Venditti the Eradicator's arc was okay. It was okay.
yeah, I remember enjoying it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
I
think.
like the Black Mercy, like the two-part Black Mercy filler stuff. That was pretty cool. Um, I can't believe I read all of Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah, I never read it all. I never read
There are
it all.
some arcs that are pretty cool,
I've never been
like
like a big team book guy. Like I'm more of like
yeah,
a solo character kind of thing.
and I wasn't either. And then I read like I was Metal is kind it's funny because I mean I guess kind of deep tangent time. Um, I I had taken a break from like reading like pretty regularly, like a lot of stuff. I mean, I still read like Thor, and I read a lot just of everything digital, like for a pretty long period of time. And it wasn't until like 2000. It was right after right after Secret Wars finished, and then like Rebirth was start like had just started like it was a few months in, and like I think I started picking up Flash again, like physical, like that second arc, like with the Shade stuff during Williamson's run.
Mm.
And then I was like, man, I'm like, I would like to like start buying a lot more physical stuff. And then I was like all in on metal, you know. And
I think
everybody hates
a
metal.
lot of people were. Yeah.
I love metal. I love metal.
Well,
I have a
after
like a
death
weird place
metal,
for
like,
metal. Death metal. Oh, 100% death metal is like the opposite end, dude. Like I hate death
yeah.
metal. But like metal was cool. I can get down with metal. But and then I was like, oh, okay, I'll follow Snyder. I remember reading like a lot some of his Batman. I like that, like and then I was like, no Justice, and then Justice League, and then I'm like, years of my money and reading all for nothing.
Oh, yeah. I have a lot. I have a couple, boxes of stuff where like I was going through it and I was like, man, this never went anywhere.
And the craziest part is they fooled me twice, man. I bought every issue of Metal and I bought every issue of Death Metal, and I regret it because I have a box full of Death Metal and I don't want it.
See, that's like the one thing that I really enjoy about digital now is like
All the
it's not taking
space
up
you can
space.
save. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. It sucks because I miss going to the shop and like the conversations with the shop and like seeing what
Yeah.
else was out. And now like what we have going on. This is my this is what I know what's out. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
when I hit new comics, this is like my new comic rack right here. It's like, oh, cool. But
yeah. Man, you really got to. We're getting way off Flash, but
I know
you keep popping that screen back to Immortal Thor. I'm like, you just need to read that. That's great. Just read that.
I can't get into any more books right now, man. I gotta.
Ah,
Oh,
all right. Maybe when it's like a little further along, we can get you in on it.
yeah. I mean,
Ewing
I'm
is just like working the magic, bro.
I've never even read a Mortal Hulk, so I need to read that. I'll get
Phenomenal,
to
dude.
that.
It's
But
great.
anyways, um,
I'm
I
not a
feel like
shill, but if I were one, I'm an out Ewing shill. So
well, he's one of those people at Marvel that you know it seems like people are enjoying what he's putting
oh
out,
yeah.
which is good. You
Except
need to.
Avengers Inc. and then they cancel it after the first issue, and then it's only five.
Yeah,
Whatever. Whatever.
but
But yeah,
this
back to
this
Flash.
issue this issue did not solve nearly as many questions as I thought
Yeah.
it would.
And
It
and
just
and I
kind of
think
like
good.
kind of just went into the next. It kind of just is going into the next, and I'm like, but I'm glad that Barry was in it. But I
Yes.
don't like that. I mean, especially the way the art is, mapped out. I really had to like look and be like, who's talking? Is it Barry or Wally? It was so confusing. It was like,
Yeah. I mean, and it gets more
um,
confusing when you can't see their faces
yeah, oh yeah,
because their costumes are almost like they're almost identical other than like their masks, like especially from a distance.
the belts were a little different,
Yeah.
but not by much. I mean, Barry, it was weird. Like Barry's costume, it had it had the new 52 belt, but
Hmm.
all the lines that those new 52 lines I like to call,
Yeah.
those weren't there, which I was just kind of like, wow, the continuity of this costume is just does not exist anymore. How do you feel about like those lines in the suit? I've never really been a
I
big fan.
I was kind of like impartial. Like I didn't it was weird at first, but then like I think some artists took advantage of it and really made them look good. That's some like I think Howard Porter did a good job with making those look nice. Um, but like you know what I mean? Like there were like a lot of artists that I think that did a really good job. Like when Manipool draws it, I think it looks cool. I like it. But like then there are some artists that like if you just did the classic red, I'm okay with it. But I don't know.
I've always wondered like who was it? Jim Lee? Do you think that like came up with this? It had to have been because
Oh,
I think
for
he
sure, dude.
he designed all of them. It just seemed
But
like it
like
was a Jim Lee thing. But
I could see that. Yeah.
um,
Yeah, like when Manifold draws it, I like it. I think it's fine. It's cool.
Brett Booth.
Yeah, Brett Booth is good too.
But yeah, no,
Okay,
I just
hot take time.
what's up?
Future Flash arc is not that bad.
It's not that bad. It's not the
Okay.
best, but it's not
Thank
that
you.
bad. JD might think differently, but
Huh?
um,
JD?
Yeah, he'd think
Oh,
differently.
yeah. Doesn't he hate most of New 52 Flash? Or he doesn't hate it. He doesn't like really care that much.
He doesn't really like a lot of the Venditti stuff,
Yeah.
especially once Zoom, I mean, or Thawne gets in there. Then
Oh,
he, I remember they did
the
some weird
costume,
shit.
like the story itself is fine, but like the costume is just it bothers me. That
Yeah,
costume bothers me. That was a weird change.
yeah. I mean, but anyway, I love how we just started talking about the New 52. But
Hey man, the bars are off. We got all the time in the world now.
yeah, right. No, I mean, I just I feel like it was a little strange, and I mean maybe because like um Mike Deodato, like his artwork is already so heavily rendered that like I mean maybe he just was like we're not doing the lines, which I'm like okay. I've never been a big
Yeah.
fan of them, so I was kind of okay with that.
And
But I think
I'm getting this like with all this Marvel stuff, like Fantastic Four and Immortal Thor and Doctor Strange and all of these books feeling so like silver agey in how they're like the storytelling and the costumes and all that stuff. Like I'm just I just like the classic looks now. I'm just all about classic looks these days.
yeah,
Like
I
the
um
simpler the better.
I think just this would have been one of the instances where like I would have been okay with the lines just because you have I mean
Yeah,
to
just to
just have like the
differentiate.
eyes and the nose and maybe the
Or
belt be
Or I mean,
different
even
factors.
if you just went with like the darker red on Wally, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but they've been. I mean, they would have looked so jarring just because we've been doing
That's
this
true. That's
brighter
true. I
red.
mean,
You
he
know.
kind of just been doing the bright red for a while now. Yeah, that's true. I don't know.
I mean, I don't. I loved the rebirth suit. I know people weren't big fans of it, but I
I
liked it. I thought it was cool. I liked and I know you can't really go back to it because I think it was Jeremy Adams run where, yeah, it was the whole Savitar thing,
Yeah.
kind of undoing Heroes in Crisis. That's it. He didn't have blue lightning or white lightning, whatever your
Oh,
preference is. Got rid of that, and then ever since then, it's been the yellow again, which I was always okay with the blue. I thought the blue was all right.
excuse me.
Um,
Yeah, I like the blue or the the whitish color lightning that he had before. It was tight.
yeah, but
I so okay, since you brought up Heroes in Crisis, are you reading Green Arrow?
no, I'm not reading it right now. I should be reading it because I like Williamson, but I
uh
know that's like the next event. I watched a video talking
they
about it.
can't help themselves, bro, because Sanctuary is back.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just kind of
Lame.
DC events. I'm just not vibing. I didn't even read the last. What was the last one? The Night Terrors. I didn't even finish
Beast
reading that.
World. Beast
Oh,
World.
Beast World.
And
Yeah,
honestly, dude, okay, honestly,
I heard it was decent.
Are you gonna read Absolute Power?
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out.
That's the Wade one. And they're like the alpha issue or whatever they're gonna like the prelude, whatever the hell they're gonna call it. That's basically gonna kind of sum things up for like what's been going on since Dawn of DC. So like Lazarus Planet and Beast World and you know Night Terrors, whatever the hell it's called.
They don't even have a cover yet.
No. I think there's like the prelude issue should be up there too. There's like Ground Zero is one of them, and then there'll be Free Comic Book Day also coming.
I wonder if I have a feeling I won't even be able to read that free comic book day because I read digital.
They released some digital, I think, on the apps. On Marvel Unlimited, they do at least. So like, do you know much? Do you know much about this?
No, very little. I just
Um, I mean, I could tell you.
yeah, no, tell me, man. Yeah,
It's cool.
no, this
So like, I mean, are you reading Zdarsky's Batman still?
hmm
So like, that's Zer.
yeah, I figured.
Brainiac.
Waller's been a big player.
Yeah, I don't even want to start with Waller, bro. I can't stand her. I every time she shows up in something, I just get so mad. It like ruins my day.
Yeah.
I'm like, get
That's,
out of
I
here.
mean, honestly, man, like that's why I just kind of I just dropped the books that I wasn't really enjoying.
Yeah.
If I'm not, if I mean, and like I really was enjoying Green Lantern War Journal, but it just got
Oh,
like too many
dude.
books. Like,
Okay.
and
Did you read you read World Saga, right?
no, I wasn't reading action. That's
Oh,
another. Yeah,
damn. Okay.
I know. There's a couple
It's
things
a
I need to
huge
like
payoff from
binge.
for World Saga in War Journal right now. Like, and it's crazy because
Really?
over like a year ago, if you would have asked me, I'd be reading like 3 or 4 different Superman titles. I'd be like, you're crazy. But I am.
Fair.
Like, I'm reading action. I'm reading Superman. I'm reading like other super adjacent. I've been reading other adjacent Superman titles like Last Days of Lex Luthor. Like, I'm just on a kick, dude.
Damn.
It's cool. Oh yeah, but to go back to Absolute Power, Wade is writing everything. There's 4 main issues, the prologue, the Free Comic Book Day issue, and then there's tie-ins that will like put the count up to 25 issues total so far, and he's writing them all.
Okay.
So I don't want to fall into the trap, but if it's Wade writing everything, I'm probably in on most of or all of those books. You
Oh,
know?
yeah. I didn't even know Wade was doing it, so I'm all in.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
I'm
it's
all in
him
on
and
Wade.
Mora. Him and Mora are doing the event. Dude, and like
Dude,
World's Finest has been so sick. Like,
oh my God, dude. Like, if we weren't, if we weren't doing this, just talking about Flash, I would be like, let's do that. You know what I mean? Because
well, maybe we can get JD on and like we'll plan for it and maybe we can talk about World's Finest.
yeah, I I feel like this is turning into like you and me just talking about Flash and whatever else is going on, you know. But
Yeah, I mean, I'm down. You know, if it's in the afternoons, I got some free time, man. Like I'm cool with it.
but
Yeah, I okay. Like to get back on Flash because there is like to get one more. I had like one more question, and I just now I'm trying to find it. I'm like kind of
yeah,
thumbing through it. Let me find the page. Hold on.
I even look at the variants for this.
Oh, it's
Oh,
the
I'm sure you got this variant, right? You got this.
oh what? Get out of here, man. No, I just went with the main covers.
I've always been a
It's
main cover guy.
it's cheaper than all the other covers. I don't like a lot of the variants
Oh,
for
I like
this
this. This is crazy.
Flash. Yeah, I like that one. That one is pretty cool. I don't know, man. I plus I've been buying a lot of other variants recently, so I've been kind of I gotta chill out.
This is cool. I find
Is that Matt Taylor? Yeah.
it.
I think the last variant I bought for Flash might have been the Dan Mora. No, it was the Gabriel Deodato, I think.
This
Second,
reminds me of another cover.
kinda.
Is
Like
it
another
like
Flash cover?
no? I want to say like a new 52 Batman or something like Court of Owls.
Could be.
I'll have to look.
Dude. But okay, I found the page. When he's like sidestepping, you know, like reality, and she's like Linda's touching him and she's like kind of seeing things with
Hmm.
him. I wonder what if she's gonna ask him about the gallery because they get like a little glimpse of it.
Yeah, no, and Wally, every time he's there, he like there's something about it that's just drawing him in, like he wants to stay there.
Yeah, yeah. And it's
Oh,
like,
this is it. This is what it reminded me of.
okay.
Not quite the same, but
I mean,
do you understand what I was saying?
yeah, yeah, I got you.
Oh,
Looking at the cover in front of me and looking at that one, kind of. Yeah. Well, like also it looks like kind of it has like the mound of those uncoiled has the same shape as that building
true.
as well. I don't know. Yeah, it looks like it. But
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know. That was like my last question was like I wonder where that's gonna lead because it's probably gonna cause some conflict between the two of them.
yeah,
And
yeah. We'll see.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
How? All right. So just to kind of like end cap this, how do you feel about like this is like a if you were going to buy this in a trade?
No.
No, you're not buying with it.
No. I think not because it's bad, because I don't know how to feel about it yet.
It
Like
just feels like it's a part of it's like a just a puzzle piece of a bigger story.
yes.
You know,
I it's well written. Like I don't think it's badly written. It can get kind of confusing at times. And the art isn't my favorite. But I think like and we might have talked about this like maybe the last couple times is I don't know that this is going to be very like arc to arc to arc like a lot of other books are these days. It kind of has that feeling where we're going to see a lot of like interwoven stuff and we'll probably get a big conclusion to a lot of it at a later point, like 12, maybe 20 issues in. You know what I mean? Like kind of the way that some comics used to do that longer form stuff.
I think we should do a bet of
Okay.
how many issues
Is this
Spurrier's
going to go?
run's gonna be. Yeah, throw out a
Well,
number.
12.
12, just 12.
No, I'm okay. I'm messing. Okay.
If you're being real, I'm just
If
curious
I'm being
because
honest, I can see them go to 25 just so DC could make money off of it being a finale issue and it being a 25th issue. And it'll be oversized and it'll have a backup story with the new team.
that's fair. Um, to be honest, man, I'm gonna say 50.
50?
I'm gonna say 50. I
I
think
mean, hell, man,
I just I could see
it's
it.
possible.
I mean, you see writers that are on books for so long, and you're like, how does it get to 50? Is like, and I don't know. I just have a feeling. I have a feeling it's going to be a lot
That's
longer
how I
than we
feel
think.
about books like Catwoman.
That was the first book that came when I was
You
thinking
know what
that.
I mean? Like okay, and like working in the shop, there are like at least in my area, we have probably I would say like over a dozen people that pull that book. But
Hmm.
it does have the advantage of having a lot of really nice covers. You know what I mean? Like for
Mm,
people that like that character or like some of the cheesecake art, like you know, they have it has a lot of good covers for that like market in comics. So I could understand if it was like selling well, because of that, or but I don't have those numbers either. But I don't know.
yeah, I'm saying 50,
That's
man.
maybe how I could justify it having gone on so long is like DC just like they're just working that market. Same with Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. Like Poison Ivy was set to be like 6 issues, then it got extended, now it's an ongoing.
Mm,
So like it's just how book I don't know. It's weird. Some books get going and some books just get shot in the knee.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Um, Always. Oh, I love doing this with you, man. And I'm so glad that we kind of switched the time because I think this is just going to
Yeah.
get better and better.
Yeah.
But appreciate you, taking the time to talk with me, and I look forward to
Of
the next
course.
time.
Of course. Of course.